Hey guys, what's up? My name is Dom. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new to my channel, I typically make bookish content, movie content, and anything else in between because I like to do whatever I want on this channel, and today's video is going to be bookish. I decided to finally read the 5 books that have been on my Goodreads TBR for the longest. Meaning, what's today's date? It is May 2nd, 2021. I added these books to my TBR in like September of 2016. Actually, maybe even before that. Yeah, because I remember opening up a Goodreads my second semester of my first year of college. So actually, it was before September. It had to be around like April, May when I opened up my account. So that's how long these books have been on there, and I'm finally getting them read. So the books I will be discussing is The Martian by Andy Weir. As you can see, I've already started this. Then the next book is The Left Hand of Darkness by Ursula K. Le Guin. Then we have The Boy Who Dared by Susan Campbell Bartoletti. Then we have Pen Pal by Dathan Orbach. And then we have The Girl Who Slept with God, and I forgot who that was by, but that's going to be a library book, so I don't have that with me. This will not be a spoilery vlog. I want to keep it spoiler free and just kind of, I'm going to discuss it like a wrap up, but also talk about my time reading them and say if it was worth it having them on my TBR for, you know, 5 years, pushing on 5 years now. Hopefully they're all at least like 4-star reads, because if not, wow, what a waste of space on my TBR, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Okay, so the first book I'm starting out with is The Martian. I'm already 70 pages into this book, and this is about a dude who was stranded on Mars. Him and his crew had a mission there, but then some sandstorm happened, and then he got separated, so while his crew's going home, he's stuck. He's looking at 4 years on Mars, and he's trying to survive. So this book is pretty good. It's sitting at like 3 stars, pushing 4 the further I get into the book. It's hilarious. He has a lot of funny side comments, but a lot of the science he's talking about is going like right over my head. I majored in zoology. I didn't major in chemistry, which is like the majority of the first 70 pages of the book. He's talking about chemistry, and I'm like, I've got no idea what's going on. I took 2 classes of chemistry in college, but if it were up to me, I would not have done that. I had to do that in order to graduate, and I hated chemistry. And yeah, there's a reason I'm not a chemist, especially after reading this, but he is so smart. Like in the beginning of the book, he kind of made it out to seem that he wasn't like the brightest just because he was at the lowest, he was like the lowest tier ranking crewmate, but he's super smart. He knows how to survive well. Like he's saying things I didn't even know I didn't know. Like if I was stranded on Mars, there's no way I would be able to do the things he's doing, which I mean, honestly, is probably why I'm not an astronaut. Despite like glossing over the science, I'm still like catching his drift. I know what's going on. I know he's trying to make water. I know he's trying to make food. I know he's trying to go to another crater. I'm getting that. So I'm gonna go back to reading because my goal is to get to page 100 today and past that. I have an arbitrary schedule, and I'm supposed to be at page 300 today, and that just didn't happen. I'm trying to get this book done by May 4th because on May 5th I'm gonna head off to Florida for a week. So I want this done because any book I bring to Florida is going to be on my phone. Hello again. I have changed because I was just filming some videos, but I did make it to my goal today. I actually got past page 100. I'm on 114, and it's getting juicy, y'all. It's getting intense, but again, like spoiler free, so I don't want to say what happened. So right now I'm going to quickly edit a video, get it scheduled so it could go out while I'm gallivanting in Florida. Hello, it's May 15th. It's been a while. I don't remember the last time I checked in with you guys, but I spent the last week in Florida, in Orlando, Florida, with some of my friends from the Disney College program. We went to Universal, we swam with manatees, we actually got to spend a day in Disney World, which was great because we didn't think we were able to do that. But I'll put the highlights of that trip here. just want to update you guys where I'm at. I still have not finished The Martian. I know, it's slow going for me. I do have 150 pages. No, I do not. I have 200 pages left. Everything bad that could happen is happening to this poor guy, which I actually kind of appreciate. I mean, I feel bad for him as a character, but when it comes to like actual writing, I actually appreciate that just because I can't imagine things going well when you're stuck on Mars. And it's so funny because he's taking it, like he's obviously pissed off, but the jokes he has are hilarious. I ordered Chinese food and I'm gonna eat it with my new Kiki delivery service chopsticks that I'm absolutely obsessed with. Yeah, but I'm still waiting for it to come. It's not gonna come for another hour, so I'm gonna read during that time. So it's May 21st. I started this vlog in April when I started reading The Martian. I wanted to be on like book 3 by now. But no, I just finished The Martian last night. In summary of my thoughts, I thought this book was hilarious, and I actually appreciated the fact that Mark Watney would make jokes out of everything. I can see why some people would think he was annoying, but I actually thought it was refreshing because this is one of those books where everything that could go wrong went wrong. But I think his attitude balanced that out because I've read other books where, you know, people are walling away, they have no hope, but then things easily go right. And in a sense that does balance it out, but because he makes a joke out of everything and he's kind of this happy-go-lucky guy given the circumstances, things go wrong. And it just balanced the narration out, and I hope that makes sense, you know, because this book would not work if he was a jokester and then things just went right for him all the time, you know, like it would be a very cheesy, cliched book if that were the case. The book did have a very feel-good ending. I love to see it. I did wish we got, no, okay, I can't really explain this without spoiling. I kind of wish we got more, but at the same time, I'm glad we didn't, because then at that point, as much as I would like to see more of the end, I feel like if Andy Weir were to give us more, the book would drag out more than it needed to. There's that. My main gripe with this book is just that it does read like a science manual, and if you are not well versed in like chemistry and physics, this book is almost, not impossible, but it's very hard to follow. I sucked at chemistry and physics, so when he was like talking about things, it went right over my head. I glossed over a lot of it. So it took away some of the enjoyment out of the book. In the end, I gave this 3 out of 5 stars. Was it worth it? Was it worth being on my TBR that long? I think I'm going to answer that question at the end of the vlog where I talk about all 5 books. So my next read is going to be The Left Hand of Darkness by, what's her name? Ursula K. Le Guin. I have never read a book by her, but I heard she's very good. I know she's well loved, and I think the sci-fi community, I think that's what she mostly writes. I remember when this book was recommended to me. It was recommended by one of my coworkers my freshman year of college, so I added it to Goodreads right away. The Martian was the first ever book I added, and this one was the second book I added. I'm just gonna go make my coffee, and I'm gonna get to reading this. I make like arbitrary schedules for the entire month, and according to that arbitrary schedule, I should have this book finished by yesterday. So we're really far behind in this house. Y'all, I am about halfway through this book, and if I have to be completely honest, I want to DNF this so bad. This book is so boring, and I don't even have words to describe why. It's not grabbing my attention. I know it's science fiction, and science fiction was never really my thing. Like, I'll still read it here and there to see what all the hype is about for a certain book. I might just keep reading it only because it is my first Ursula K. Le Guin book, and I want to be able to say I finished one of her books. And I don't know, it's so hard just to get through one chapter, and these chapters aren't very long. Like, some of them, like, on average, they're like 10 pages, and it's hard. Maybe it's just because I'm not understanding the politics of it all. I don't know, because I have a friend who loves this book, and she said one of her favorite parts was just like the political arguments and all that. It's just not for me. So I'm gonna do what I did with Lord of the Rings, because that book, like the first book, was dragging for me as well. So what I'm gonna do is actually just read a chapter a day, because I feel like I'd get through it better than if I was doing the 50 pages a thing. So I'm going to put this book aside, and I'm going to start the next book that's on my list of 5 books, and that is The Boy Who Dared, a novel based on the true story of the Hitler Youth by Susan Campbell Bartoletti. I was not aware that this is actually more of like a children's middle grade book than YA. I feel like the title says it all what this book is about. It's a World War II book. I love reading about World War II. This one, because of how short it is and because of the target audience it's geared for, and the font's pretty big and there's huge spaces between words and paragraphs, I'm going to obviously aim for the 50 pages a day, but I think I'm going to try to read most of this in one day because I have nothing going on today. So we'll see, because I do have to film a movie reaction. But But that's the agenda today. It's to get through the majority of this book, then watch Holes, which is the next movie reaction, and then maybe read a chapter of this today. I am 125 pages into this book. There's a total of like 200. I have to say I am enjoying this. I'm glad I paused the Left Hand of Darkness so I can get to this one. I keep forgetting it's a true story, even though the title is literally based on a true story. But so far, without spoiling much, what I can say is it is a German boy living in Nazi Germany. He was forced to join the Hitler Youth. He at first was like super pro-Nazi, but as time goes on, he's realizing it's really sketch. The Nazis are lying to them. Even as like a young child, they show him second guessing what the Nazis want and questioning everything. And it's interesting to me that a young child can see these things, but like not the grown adults around him. The one complaint I do have is that this book is one singular chapter. So despite it being like middle grade and the fact that it is only 200 pages, I feel like I'm taking longer to read this than I actually am, just because it feels like it never ends. Whereas like, you know, when a book has short chapters, you read 5 pages and you're like, okay, that was only 5 pages, let me keep going. Whereas this one, the chapter just never ends because it's only one chapter, and it's just, it drags it a little. My question is this the true story of a kid who survived the war or of a child who did not survive? And I don't think that we're going to get that answer until the end of the book. I'm going to take a break from reading because I got 75 more pages to go, but I also need to eat dinner. So I'm going to go order some Jimmy John's, and I'm going to watch Arlo the Alligator Boy, which someone recommended to me a while back, and I still just have not watched it yet. I should be reading The Left Hand of Darkness, but I just don't want to. Maybe I really should just DNF it. I don't know. I'm still debating.
What you doing out here? Couldn't sleep. Uncle Palm was right when he said that it was dangerous for us to misuse the power of the crystal.
Update. I have finished The Boy Who Dared. Is that what it was called? Yes, I have finished The Boy Who Dared, and I fairly enjoyed it. I don't remember my exact rating. It was haunting, especially knowing that it is a true story, because at the end of the story itself, the author did put pictures in of our main character, of his friends, of his family. And just knowing the end of that book made those pictures just so much more haunting. And just reading through the book, it does make you, like, I mean, like, I have a lot of knowledge about World War II, so I don't really know how to, like, word this correctly. But it really hones in the fact what living under a dictatorship is actually like. Also, Left Hand of Darkness by Ursula K. Le Guin. I DNF'd that book, because I know I was talking about DNFing it and how it was boring me. I got halfway through it and I just couldn't do it anymore. I put the book down because I had Mommy Dearest on hold at the library and it came in, and then I was falling so far behind. I didn't even get halfway through the book before my loan was, my end date was coming up, and I got so caught up in Mommy Dearest that I kept pushing aside The Left Hand of Darkness. And finally, I just realized I never wanted to pick up that book again. I had no desire to, so I read the plot summary on Wikipedia, and quite frankly, I'm glad I'm not wasting my time on it anymore, because when I was reading through it, I was like, really? That's what happened? Granted, I did enjoy the discussion that this book had about, like, gender, the importance of gender, or the unimportance of gender. However you want to take that. And especially when this book came out, I feel like the discussions on gender and sexuality were a big deal at the time. So I commend her for that and writing that into it. And I always commend people, even if I didn't like the book, I always commend people for creating these new societies. But the story itself was just boring. I wasn't about it, which is disappointing. It really DNF books. That's how boring I thought it was. It's sad that my first impression of her was not good, but I don't want to put her aside. Like, I'm willing to try other books by her, just not anytime soon. So that means we're gonna move on to book number 4 of this list, and that is Pen Pal by Dathan Arbach. I think that's how it's pronounced. I'm not sure. This is a horror novel. It is about a man trying to make sense of his past. Each story in this is a new puzzle for you and the narrator to solve. That's a good time. I believe the stories on this were on some website before it was novelized. I don't remember what the website was, but I'm very excited to get into this. I'm 30 pages into Pen Pal. That means I have 5 more pages left of the current chapter, but I can't keep my eyes open anymore, so I just want to stop reading rather than force myself. I'm indifferent to this book so far. It's clearly just the beginning, and he's clearly still setting things up, so I don't want to form a harsh opinion. The one thing I will say is that I do feel like it's being dragged out a little bit too much. Like, from what I read already, could have been shortened by like a few pages. But otherwise, I am intrigued to keep going. He's hearing some footsteps, he's stuck in the woods. And why? I'm gonna get to bed because I need to wake up at 6 in the morning tomorrow and travel. I need to go out to the northern part of the state to visit some family. I will be bringing my book along and reading. I don't know how many books. I'm reading 3 books at once right now, and it's so overwhelming. I have my audiobook, I have Mommy Dearest, and I have this one. When will I be reading each one? I don't know, but I hope I can finish this chapter by tomorrow. I'm tired. I'm so fucking tired. Good night. So I'm halfway through Pen Pal, and it's actually finally getting really, really creepy. So at first, like, the first few pages were creepy, and then it just dropped. It wasn't horror at all. I was like, why is this hailed as a great horror story? This is kind of boring. But it left me intrigued enough, because there's this big mystery. Who is this guy stalking this kid, right? And it left me intrigued enough to keep reading, because I genuinely want to know who the stalker is. Chapter 3 actually freaked me out, and I really wish I could describe it, but I'd spoil it. But I swear to God, I finished it however long ago because I'm really bad at doing these reading vlogs, and I just like stared with my mouth agape at the paper. I'm like, holy fuck, this is fucking creepy. The imagery was amazing for that scene. Like, the imagery, like, the description of the sounds were amazing, so I could, like, hear what was going on. Freaked me out, and I cannot wait to keep reading. I'm gonna go make some food first, though, because my stomach's literally growling. And it's raining here right now. It's the perfect aura, whatever that word is. I'm excited to keep reading this book. The chapters are the chapters are very long, so like the next chapter is 50 pages, and I hate when there's long chapters. I feel like I'm reading faster when the chapters are short, but I'll deal. The last time a book really freaked me out and I could not read it at night was Coraline, and that was the first time I read it back when I was 11 years old. I've been looking for horror books like this for so long. So I've read chapter 4 of Pen Pal. This book is really, really weird. So there's this thing this author does. Well, he'll just talk about the most minuscule things, and he will drag out the detail. And you think it's pointless, but then you find out by the end of the chapter everything really was important. The thing is, though, it doesn't read in an exciting way. The reading does drag. I don't know, like, it's weird because it's important, but it just doesn't read well. Part of me thinks these chapters are boring, but then I get so creeped out at the end, which is what happened with this chapter. But like I know I was kind of praising this book in the last clip, and right now I'm just like, eeh. I think so far it's a solid 3 out of 5 star read. I have less than 100 pages left to go, which means I have 2 chapters left. But I have a doctor's appointment tomorrow that's really early in the morning, so I need to get to bed. I can't read anymore. Reading continues tomorrow. Long time no see. It is July. We are on July 18th, and I'll explain that in a second. But I have finished Pen Pal last month. It was part of my June wrap-up, and I really enjoyed it. I was expecting one of those stories for the stalker to be like this big reveal, but it wasn't. Like, he wasn't really named. This is kind of a spoiler, but he wasn't named. The guy didn't know who he was. And I think what I liked about this story so much was that that's kind of how it happens in real life. I mean, usually when I read stories like this in books, like, there's that big reveal. It's someone they know. When in reality, when your child is being stalked, you don't really know the person. That's why they always say be careful what you put on the internet. You don't know what creeps are out there. And I liked the realistic aspect of it. And it was just so eerie. Like, I got chills when I finished reading it. Maybe I'm being a little too dramatic because it does read like it was on Reddit. And it was a Reddit story. But I still vastly enjoyed it. And, like, I don't know what I was expecting, because usually when I go into like thrillers and horror, I expect to like not be scared anymore. I haven't been thoroughly freaked out in so long, but this one kind of gave me the creeps, and that's what I was looking for, and I really liked it. Let me look up what I said on Goodreads to make sure I am telling you guys everything. So I'll just read out the review. I thought this book was incredibly slow going at first, but the author has a way of making everything, even the smallest details, important to the story, and it leaves you wanting to know what happens next. This book really creeped me out, and I didn't realize until I finished that the slow pace had a huge part of it. Near the end, I was literally sick to my stomach when the truth was coming out because, yeah, it was gross. I also really liked that we never know the narrator's name. It added to the eeriness of it all and made it feel like the author himself was the main character and we were reading his autobiography, kind of like a Lemony Snicket thing. And now we are going to move on. The reason why I could not check into this vlog for so long is because my next read is going to be The Girl Who Slept with God by Val Berlinski, and I was checking it out. I was checking out the ebook from the library, and it was on hold for so long, and it finally came in, so I could finally read it. And this will be the last book of the vlog. It was the 3rd book I added to my TBR, and it's going to be the 5th one we're reading. So it's 3 sisters. We got Frances, we got Jory, and we got Grace. Their mother's depression and Grace's religious fervor threaten the seemingly perfect family, whose world is upended when Grace returns from a missionary trip to Mexico and discovers she's pregnant with what she believes, the child of God. Oh, they like literally mean slept with God. Holy crap. Okay. So distraught, Oren sends Jory and Grace to an isolated home at the edge of the town. There they prepare for the much-awaited arrival of the baby while building a makeshift family that includes an elderly eccentric neighbor and a tattooed social outcast who drives an ice cream truck. It's an achievement for a family's desperate need for truth, love, purity, and redemption. I'm intrigued now to get into it. I think the whole reason I added it to my TBR in the first place was because just that title. But it seems like a story of a girl who's going to give birth to the next Messiah, and I love that for her. So actually, let's get reading. Hello! So it's the next day I'm in this position because I just filmed a movie reaction. Go check out my reaction to Space Jam, because I finally watched that movie for the first time. But I am 100 pages in The Girl Who Slept with God. I have thoughts. And I said in the beginning I was going to try very hard to keep this all like spoiler free, and I'm going to try with that. It's just this book, it's supposed to frustrate you, and I did not know that going in. So the first few pages like were really pissing me off. Not first few pages, first few sections, I guess, were really pissing me off. And then I read it's supposed to, and not only did I read it's supposed to frustrate you, but I also kind of 20 pages in I kind of figured it's supposed to do that. And boy, is it doing its fucking job. This book is so frustrating, and the fact that it's doing its job is a testament to how well it's written, because it is. It's so easy to read. It flows so well. So you have your title character, the girl who slept with God, which is Grace. She's the one who gets pregnant and is claiming it's God's child. But it's not in her point of view. It's actually in her sister Jory's point of view. And it's essentially, it's Grace's story, but it's also Jory's coming of age story, because Jory is realizing how weirdly conservative her family is, how sheltered she is, and she's coming to terms with that. And you know, being 14 and a teenager, she wants to, I don't want to say she wants to rebel. That's nowhere near what she wants to do. But she does want to explore, I shouldn't even say that. She doesn't want to explore outside her religion, but she also doesn't want to live within it at the same time. This family is evangelical Christian, and again, they are highly conservative. All their kids are extremely sheltered. But they are the type of people to, one, believe if you're not Christian, you will just go to hell. Because at one point, Frances asked Grace, well, if our neighbors are Jewish, does that mean they're going to hell? And Grace, in a very, I don't want to say perky, she wasn't happy about it, but in a very, Christian way, in the author's words, she was like, yes, unfortunately they are. And I'm like, wow, I want to punch you in the face. They're also the type of Christians who think Catholics are not Christian. And as a Catholic, that pisses me off to no end. That is something I have heard growing up, and I've never understood it, because our Lord and Savior is literally Jesus Christ, which is what makes you a Christian. If your Savior is Jesus Christ, you are part of the Christian religion. And you guys could probably hear how angry I'm getting. Part of the story is that Grace goes on a mission trip. I have opinions about mission trips. I do think maybe some out there are good, okay, but my main problems with mission trips is that I don't see them as mission trips. I see them as vacations. I see them as white saviorism, and Grace's mission trip is one of those white savior vacations that I am referring to, because Grace was only there for a month. What good are you going to do for a community for a month? She gives a presentation about what she saw there, and she was she wasn't judgmental about the culture, but she was just making some comment. She had just some commentary that didn't sit well with me. And again, it's not supposed to. You are supposed to be irked by her. So again, it's working. And see, because my main problem with these conversion trips is you are impeding on someone's culture and telling them their culture sucks and they should change it to yours. I think that's highly offensive no matter where you go, and it's insensitive. And that, but so just that in general is offensive to me. But what's my pet peeve? I don't want to say offensive here, but what's specifically my pet peeve is when these people go to Catholic countries, because she goes to Mexico, which is a Catholic country. They go to these Catholic countries and claim these Catholics have never met Jesus in their life, have never met the gospel, or never read the gospel. Because she says at one point, in her presentation, she's like, I'm so happy to tell these people, so lucky to talk to these people who have never heard of the gospel. And it's Oh my god, like, okay, saying that no matter where you are is offensive, like I said, but one of the reasons it's a pet peeve of mine when these people go to Catholic countries is because these Catholics are well aware of the gospel. I have been learning of the gospel since I was a child. These people know. They know who Jesus Christ is. We recognize Jesus Christ as our savior. I'm saying we as if I'm in these countries. Catholics recognize Jesus Christ as their savior. We celebrate Easter and Christmas because he is our savior. And it's just, I cannot stand her. Ooh, I'm so, like, unnecessarily angry. And, like, none of that's spoilers. Like, that is the beginning of the book. It's what gets the book going. And it's, like, the author, so I don't want to say, like, its own voices necessarily, but the author has talked about, like, this was the environment she grew up in, like, the parents in this book are reminiscent of her parents, which leads me to another thing. These parents piss me the fuck off. Because, this is not a spoiler because this is literally in the synopsis, but, you know, Grace gets pregnant and the dad ships her and Jory off to this to this house, and they have to live alone. But it's just a 17 and 14-year-old who are incredibly sheltered and clearly don't know how to take care of themselves, left alone. And it's because the dad claims it's because, oh, the mom needs a break, but I'm going to stay with her and Francis, the younger one. And it's like, you are leaving these daughters to fend for themselves. And it's not that mom needs a break. It's just because now that Grace is pregnant and they don't know who the dad is and she's pregnant before marriage, they had to ship her off and hide her, and it's presumably until she gives birth. Which, and this book takes place in the 1970s, so I'm aware that happened back then. I've heard stories, my own family members are telling me stories of girls they knew who had to go through that. And quite frankly, I would not be shocked if people are still doing that today. But it's like, so like that specifically, that has nothing to do with like my thoughts on Grace and Jory. Even though I don't really like Grace, I still feel bad for her in that regard. Like, this is 100% how I feel about the parents. Like, I am angry at the parents, and I'm a little worried for our author if she said the parents were inspired by her own parents. Yikes. Dad is very much a believer. He wants to... One of the reasons he's upset that Grace is pregnant is because life is not going his way. He's an astronomer at a Christian college, and he's scared he's going to get fired, so he's putting his, you know, job before his literal child. And, like, the other thing that just bothers me about what's happening to Jory, and again, I'm not mad at Jory here. I actually do like Jory as a character. But the dad is making Jory put her life on pause to take care of things that are widely outside of her control. She's only 14. And it worries me. Like, author, like, what were you going through if these parents were inspired by yours, you know? And, you know, now she has to go to a public school. Oh no, I did get to that part. She goes to a public school, she's like, it's so bad, they smoke and swear. And it's like, girl, I went to a public elementary school, public middle school, public high school, public college. I've seen it all. I'm laughing as I'm reading this. I'm not supposed to be laughing, but I was laughing as I was reading this. Another character I'm concerned about is a grown man who is hanging around with Jory a lot. And again, I don't blame Jory. She is 14. She clearly has some sort of crush going on. I remember what it was like being a teenager and crushing on adult men. It just worries me this grown adult is hanging around her. And by grown adult, like, he, like, even said he's clearly past high school. I want to say he's in his 20s. His age was never actually revealed, but he's definitely past high school. And he's just driving around in this ice cream truck, which is like kind of a red flag for me, but that's probably because of all the stories we hear like growing up. I'm just concerned. I don't know what his motives are. Like, he seems nice, but we're also reading it from a 14-year-old's point of view. It's in third person, but it still clearly is in Jory's point of view. So it's like, I don't know how to take this. And again, this book is supposed to be frustrating, so it's doing its job. Then my last comment. Grace is adamant that this child is God's, and she even said, like, at first I didn't want to tell you guys because he told me not to tell you because you guys wouldn't believe me, just like people didn't believe Jesus right away. And I have a theory about the truth. That's spoiler territory, so I'm not going to get into my theory. I have read reviews of the book, and just the way a lot of people felt about the ending is kind of solidifying my theory. I don't know. I'm a little worried for the ending because a lot of reviews said it's not satisfying. It better fucking be satisfying though if I'm getting this angry and frustrated and like attached and emotional towards this book.
Honey, you've got a big storm coming.
But that is where I'm at, that long-winded feeling, and we are only 100 pages into this 369-page book. Oh my god. Okay, there's just a lot. I mean, I firmly believe sometimes you should read a book that pisses you off gives you another point of view here. Maybe I need to take, like, get a drink or something. I need to put some, like, alcohol in my system to calm myself down.
That's enough! I'm not listening to you anymore!
Hi, so since we're in September now. Yeah, it's been a while since I last updated this vlog. Since then, I have finished The Girl Who Slept with God. A lot went on in this book, so you saw how angry I was in that last clip, and let me tell you, the anger never died down. If you saw my August wrap-up, like, I wrapped up my thoughts, what I thought was nicely. I don't know, I was kind of all over the place. I'll try to do it again here, just in case you didn't see that, but woo! This book took a turn. Okay, so I know I mentioned that I was really confused why Jory had to go away. It hit me, and it's because she was accused of doing something she never did, and her parents didn't believe her. So that's why she got sent away. It wasn't just to watch Grace. So I kind of missed that. My theory, because I had a theory about what really happened to Grace. My theory was correct. But then this book just took a turn that I wasn't expecting, and I was like, holy fuck. So this book, never has a book made me, like, physically angry, just physically react the way this book did. At some points, because I was reading it on my phone, so at some points I wanted to throw my phone. I wanted to chuck my phone across the room because I got so mad. There were times I screamed. Grace would just, like, she pissed me off, but she's also 17, so I felt for her, and because I wanted her to grow, I wanted her to be I wanted everyone to be better people. Like, everyone is in the children. I wanted Jory to go on her adventure to get better. She made some amazing friends at that public school, and I loved them. And I was rooting for them. And then there was just that turn. I'm still like, okay, girl, where do I even begin? There was just a lot. The ending, I'm just so upset because I ended up giving this book 4 out of 5 stars because never has a book just made me physically react the way this one did. Because it was an enthralling experience because of that. Like, I would get so angry I could not stop reading because of how enthralled I was by that. And it's a testament to how well written it is. But I just did not like the end. Something happens, like the twist I've been talking about. And Jory was grieving, and I just think this book was unfortunately too short, which sounds weird, because it's already 369 pages. I think it needed to be longer, because Jory's grief was just not explored in the slightest. It was not explored for as long as it should have been, and especially because there was a time skip. Why was there a time skip? That really confused me. I had to, like, reread that passage a few times, because I was just so confused. Like, here you want to show us this character is sad, but you're not showing us with a time skip, you know? And just Jory, I mentioned in the last clip how pissed off I was at the parents, and Jory forgave the father. I think the author was going for, like, redemption and forgiveness, because, you know, that's, like, a huge thing in Christianity. We have to learn how to forgive people. But I don't want to forgive him. I would if I was shown why I should forgive him. But I wasn't shown that. Like, again, the time skip. Like, there was something had to have happened in that time skip that we didn't see. So therefore, I can't forgive the father for what he did. But yeah, Jory forgave him, and I just couldn't. And I think it's just because I'm just an angrier and more vindictive person, especially because, like, if my parents did what their parents did, like, I would not be happy about that. But I was reading some Goodreads reviews, and I'm not alone in this. A lot of people felt the same way. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe I just missed the point of the novel. Unless I did not miss the point and I just don't like it, you know? So, but I still gave it 4 out of 5 stars because of how enthralling it was. Like, honestly, from an enjoyment level, which sounds, like, weird considering how angry I was, I would give it a 5 out of 5, but, like, critically, and especially because of that ending, it is 4 out of 5. Ooh, man, that's just the physical reactions I had to this book. Just never has a book ever done that to me before. We finally reached the end of this vlog. I had no idea it was going to be nearly 3 months in the making. May, June, July, August, September, 4 months in the fucking 4 months in the making, y'all. So let's discuss, because in the beginning of the video, I think it was after The Martian, I said I was going to discuss whether or not these books were worth it, whether I regret buying them, blah, blah, blah. Let's get started. The first book was The Martian by Andy Weir, and I ended up giving this 3 out of 5 stars. Like, I don't regret buying it, but at the same time, I feel like it could have been a library book, but do I regret reading it? No, because it was, despite the 3 out of 5 star rating, it was vastly enjoyable. Mark Watney's a hilarious character. I wish I had a little less science of the nitty-gritty of it, But Mark Watney is enjoyable, he's hilarious, and I have watched the movie, and the movie's good. Next is The Boy Who Dared by Susan Campbell Bartoletti. I do not regret reading this. This was a good read, and I don't regret buying it. I want this book to be on my shelves because I like to collect World War II based books, and this is one that would be a perfect addition to my collection. The Left Hand of Darkness by Ursula K. Le Guin. I regret buying this. This should have been a library read because I ended up giving it 1 out of 5 stars. I didn't even finish it. I DNF'd it. This was not worth having on my TBR, my Goodreads TBR for the last 5 years. Pen Pal by Dathan Auerbach. This one I was so surprised about. I was so hesitant buying this one. I thought for sure this would be like a library read, but none of my libraries had it, so I just gave in and bought a physical copy. And I ended up giving it like either 4 or 5 out of 5 stars. It was vastly enjoyable. And so this was worth it. This was worth the wait. I kind of wish I waited till the Halloween season to read this, but too late. This was worth the wait, and it's worth having on my shelves. The last is The Girl Who Slept with God by Val Berlinski. I'm still in debate about whether or not I regret getting this from the library. I kind of want a physical copy of my collection, but I'm also not like racing to buy it anytime soon. I think for now this book is going to be one of those books where like as much as I enjoyed it, I'm not going to buy it unless I find it at a used bookstore. Like I don't want to pay full price for it. Was it worth the read? Despite how angry it made me, yeah, it was worth the read. I said this so many times, but it was enthralling, and it's definitely, story-wise, I don't know, but like when it comes to the experience itself, it's definitely like one of the top 10 books I read so far this year. And we finally bring this vlog to a close. Oh my god, 4 months in the making. I have to get my shit together. But if you made it this far, thanks for watching. Those are the 5 books that have been on my Goodreads TBR forever, since I got a Goodreads 5 years ago. But if you like this video, give it a big thumbs up, comment, subscribe, y'all know the drill. But without further ado, I'm gonna peace out and I'll see you guys later. Ciao a tutti.